It's time once again for That Business Show with Jamie Meloni on 1250 Wins WHNZ, where business becomes show business. Now, live in studio and promoting the entrepreneurial spirit that drives the American economy, your host, Jamie Meloni.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business. Keep in mind, you can catch this show out here weekdays at 8 a.m. on 1250 WHNZ, and this show is all about our business owners, political leaders, entrepreneurs, people making a difference in and around the Tampa Bay and regional communities. And again, this is a show with a positive message, so take a break from all the political talk that dots our airwaves each and every morning and start your day off right with something positive about what's going on in and around the Tampa Bay region and regional communities. As always, I invite you over to my website, tampabayradio.com, where you can find all of my past shows and see who's coming up on the show in our weekly guest network, or I'm sorry, our weekly guest lineup that's coming up. And also you can see all of our past guests through the guest network tab on the main page. And I've had a lot of great and influential people in the studio. And you can see all of their show interviews on the guest network page. Just click on that, click on their show cards, and you'll be taken over to their videos. So a lot of great information over on the website, tampabayradio.com. Also, you can listen to me on demand at iTunes as well. If you're a podcast enthusiast, iTunes, just search for That Business Show. And in addition, you can find me on all the social networking sites, facebook.com/That Business Show. And please connect with me on Twitter. I've put a lot of updates and posts on the different social networking sites. So please connect with me there. My name or handle on Twitter is Jamie_Meloni. Also, when you visit my website, tampabayradio.com, you'll notice that I sell real estate. And if you're in the market to sell your home, there is a link on the homepage it says Sell Your Home. Put your information in there, and I'll send you over a free home valuation. And you may be surprised what your home is worth. There's been a increase in values in the northern Tampa area, southeastern Hillsborough County since about 2012. So upwards of 20% in some of the communities. So you may be surprised what your home is worth. And if you're considering relocation, please contact me, and again, click on the Sell Your Home link at tampabayradio.com, and I'll send you over a free home valuation. Got a great show planned for you again today. Each and every day, I'm in here with one or two different business owners, entrepreneurs, and people in the community making a difference. And on the first half of the show, we talk with Alexis Milner, editor of the Tampa Bay Business Journal, and on the second part of the show, we'll be talking with Debbie Lundberg with Presenting Powerfully, all about how to make a proper presentation and a lot of great tips on how to prevent slobification. I like that term that she's got up on her website, so I'll be interested in talking to her about that. And so let's go and bring on my first guest. Alexis Milner is in his 17th year with American City Business Journals. He was named editor of the Tampa Bay Business Journal in August of 2004 after working in Miami for 14 years. His roots are in public radio, where credits include National Public Radio's All Things Considered, Weekend Edition, Crossroads, and Living on Earth. Milner appears every Friday morning on ABC Action News in Tampa and is a regular commentator for Bay News 9 since 2000. Alexis, welcome to the show today.
Hey, Jamie, it's great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, so might get some tips here from you, being that you have some experience, or a lot of experience, I should say, in the radio business, right?
I love radio. I mean, it's just, great radio has pathos, dynamic energy, great people and stories and color. So it's a very visual medium, and people forget that.
Yeah, talk to me about your background in radio. When did you get started with NPR, and are you still involved with it at all, or are you just strictly with the Tampa Bay Business Journal now?
Well, I mean, we can get into this in a little bit. I mean, my role as the business journalist is not solely as a print journalist. I mean, it's a multimedia function. When I go out to do reporting, I have my digital recorder, my broadcast quality digital recorder, and a DSLR, and my iPhone. So it's sort of, these days you have to be have multimedia skills in order to really provide the kind of content that our readers are looking for. I've been doing media all my life. I was taking pictures with a Kodak Instamatic when I was 7 years old, and found the darkroom an exciting place. At that
the
age.
Evolution of the camera is. I
Right.
talk about that from time to time and
Amazing.
stuff. It's interesting, how it's went, because I can remember in my youth, what is it, the Polaroids and things of that
That's
nature,
right.
and buying film. And I can still remember being in high school and when they first came out with the digital cameras, going up to a guy at the at Kmart where I bought the camera. I was like, where do you put the film in this thing? So,
Right, amazing when you think about it. And then I was a DJ in college. I mean, I've always been sort of interested in putting sound together and in television. Actually, did sort of some TV as a kid. And so always gravitated towards media in general. So public radio and radio in general was something, I mean, I was a disc jockey in college, and then I found a recording of a pirate radio show from Vietnam. It had been passed around. This is before the movie Good Morning Vietnam came out, and been passed around amongst the veteran community. And I went to Hampshire College, which is in Western Massachusetts, and was doing a radio show at the time, and then discovered this recording, and it led to my senior thesis as an undergrad about the role of radio in Vietnam during the war. And I raised $100,000 in grant money and interviewed veterans around the country and put together a piece that actually aired on National Public Radio in 1987 on Veterans Day around the world. And was very lucky to have the kind of content material that included Armed Forces Radio and then pirate unauthorized use of radio to help alleviate boredom and also to communicate and to do those kinds of things. And that sort of launched a career early on in media, and then went back to graduate school when I was 30 and discovered business journalism, which I'm still to this day amazed that I do and now love. So I'm lucky. I've had a career that's, has included a lot of different kinds of uses of media and basically get to do what I enjoy.
Did you host the shows that were in your credits there? Were you a contributor to them mostly? Did you host the shows ever? Or what was your involvement in radio in that aspect?
Well, I was the associate producer of an NPR show called Crossroads, which was a multicultural news magazine that was produced in Philadelphia and then Miami. That's actually how I got to Florida, and would produce segments for that. And at the time when radio was not digital, you were paid as a freelancer by the produced minute for NPR, and I think it was $40 a minute, and that was incredibly labor intensive. And I got very adept at cutting tape with a razor blade, and so I knew how to edit sound. But it was not a career that was very lucrative, or was one that I thought would be really productive. And so I like having those skills. I have an ear for it. But I did some stuff for the network nationally, reporting on the environment for a show they had called Living on Earth, where I produced some pieces about the Everglades and just Florida, the ecology of Florida.
Yeah, and now you're with your editor at the Tampa Bay Business Journal. So talk to me about what the Business Journal is about and your involvement with the Tampa Bay Business Journal.
It's a great run. I'm in my 11th year. I got here in 2004, and the Business Journal is in its fourth decade as the go-to source for weekly business-to-business news and intelligence. And again, in a time where journalists and a lot of the daily newspaper staffs have cut, and they have to be very reactive to news, the Business Journal is in a position where we get to develop relationships, break news. I mean, we are a news organization. People often think that maybe we're promote business, and we like talking about success stories, but we also want to vet failure by helping to level the playing field and helping people understand who to do business with and who not to. And we have now a weekly print edition, which has been the case for now almost over 30 years, and then a daily morning edition, which is a digital product, and an afternoon edition, which is also a digital product, which are free.
Now, how do you find your news sources? Do people bring you the stories a lot of time? Are you out there digging up your own news stories? Talk to me about how you're sourcing all your news stories at the Tampa Bay Business Journal.
Well, we have a staff of journalists who are excellent. They're award-winning. Most of my staff is tenured. They've been with us a long time. And they have specialty beats, but it's a lot of relationship building. And so one of the great things about a situation like this is you get to know people and to have people tell you things. Sometimes maybe they shouldn't, but it's a way of really making sure that you know the person that you're dealing with. So it's source development and relationship building that helps us tell people things that they don't know.
Now, do you have a niche at the Business Journal? I mean, what are the types of stories that you like to go after and that you like to cover in the media?
Well, the good news for me as editor is, and I write a lot and report a lot, is I get to cherry pick and do the things that I enjoy doing. I like photographing, so I love getting behind the scenes into places, and have brought a look with my own camera to all kinds of places before they're maybe accessible to the public. I write a column every week in our paper called Taking It In, which is a look at what's maybe happening inside the walls of the Business Journal in terms of how we got stories and explaining that, but also have a chance to sort of opine or go after or report on something that I find interesting. So it's really, I have experience at covering everything from banking to tourism to,
But the overlying theme of the journal is business, correct?
Correct. It's business to business, and so that means that what our value proposition is for people to grow their businesses with market intelligence, understand how to extrapolate from the business lens, which is something we talk about a lot, every piece of content has a why do we care? So if you are reading about it in our paper, it could be pretty just interesting, but overall we're hoping that there's something to be pulled out of it at TampaBayBusinessJournal.com that can be utilized for folks to either have a better understanding of the community, know who to do business with, how to apply it to their businesses, know who to work with and who not to.
Yeah, and people, we're talking with Alexis Milner here with the Tampa Bay Business Journal. Learn more about them over at TampaBayBusinessJournal.com. Coming back from the break, I want to talk more with Alexis about what's been happening in Tampa and some of the things that's got him excited about what's going on in our community. And if you're just tuning in, you've been listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business.
Are you looking for a local real estate firm that knows the market and has your interests in mind? Then contact Jim McPeak at McPeak Real Estate Firm, a family-owned business whose agents have over 60-plus years of experience in the Tampa Bay market. Many of the agents are military veterans that know the VA process for buying a home and are proud to help our military members in any way they can. From residential to commercial real estate, McPeak Real Estate Firm is here to help. Contact Jim at 813-495-3875 and learn more at McPeakTeam.com.
Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage wants you to experience the thrill of one-day underwriting and the comfort in knowing your loans will be clear to close in record time. While the competition looks to a lost closing date, Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage focus on their 12-day clear to close. They do this by utilizing their world-class operations staff to underwrite your loan within 6 hours, process your loan in 12 days, and have your loan closed in time. Underwritten in 6 hours, cleared to close in 12 days. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage.
Hey there, it's Lynn Wise, the founder of Wise Business Advisors and Contractor Business Alliance. I'm a certified value builder advisor, and I help business owners build a company that will allow them to have the business that they dreamed of when they started. Why did you go into business for yourself? I'm sure it was not to work 100 hours a week with no work-life balance and no financial freedom. What am I talking about? I'm talking about building a business that provides value to you and your family now and in the future. You can learn about the 8 essential areas of a business that you must build to have a business that can be an asset for your future. Go to wisebusinessadvisors.com and take the Value Builder score. It is free and will deliver your score immediately on how you are doing on building a valuable business for you and your family. Or call me at 772-834-8513 to learn more about the Value Builder system.
In the market for a reverse mortgage? Contact Access Reverse, a local company with personalized service in the Bay Area. Call them at 727-347-0305 or visit accessreverse.com for a no-cost, no-obligation consultation. They'll come to your home and speak with you about the best options for your reverse mortgage. Plus, they offer the lowest closing costs. Don't just get a reverse mortgage. Get the right reverse mortgage with Access Reverse. Visit accessreverse.com. NMLS number 4566. Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
This report is brought to you by Wingate by Wyndham Hotels. What's the best way to cap a marathon week of work travel? Take a victory lap in the free fitness centers. Wingate by Wyndham Hotels. Plan ahead and save 15%. Plus, earn bonus points when you book at wingatehotels.com.
From the Bright House Network's Traffic Center.
2 lanes now blocked on 49th Street northbound just south of Ulmerton Road. It is going to be stop and go throughout that area. I'm seeing slowdowns on 275 northbound from the Howard Franklin up to Himes. And just past Dale Mabry, there's an accident blocking the left lane. See traffic problems? Call Injury Firm of Abrahamson and Utica Hills for a traffic tip line. 866-545-9595.
It will be warm and humid overnight, the low down to 71. On Tuesday, partly cloudy skies, just a 20% chance of showers or storms. Tuesday's high, 86.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni on 1250 Wins WHNC. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
Welcome back, everybody, to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Keep in mind, you can find this show on here weekdays at 8 a.m. here on 1250 WHNZ, as this show is a positive message about our community and features different business owners, entrepreneurs, and political leaders, and people making a difference in and around the Tampa Bay and regional communities. If you have an interest in appearing on the show, please contact me. There is no there is no charge for a guest appearance on the show, so please do not let that stop you. Getting a lot of great responses from the community. So as always, you can email me, jamie@tampabayradio.com, and give me a quick pitch about your business, what it is that you're doing, and why you'd like to be featured on the show. And you get some good exposure here, and we get you out to all the different social networking sites with the repurposing of the material, and again up on iTunes. And so it'll be a good exposure, and we give you the videos and the audios of the show. So become a radio star for a day, and contact me again, jamie@tampabayradio.com, and you can also contact me through my contact form on the site at tampabayradio.com as well. Currently in studio talking with Alexis Milner, editor of the Tampa Bay Business Journal. Learn more about the journal over at tampabaybusinessjournal.com. And on the first segment, Alexis, we were talking about your history in radio, the history of the Tampa Bay Business Journal, what it entails. Let's talk about a little bit what's going on in the community. What's happening in Tampa Bay that's got you excited, and that you all have been reporting on a lot in the business communities.
Wow, never a dull moment. I mean, it's been an incredible time for us in terms of the content that we have to delve into every day. The first thing that comes to mind, obviously, is Jeff Vinnick. An $1.0 billion investment, a partnership with Cascade Investments, Bill Gates' investment firm, taking up a lot of the once sort of vacant, land in downtown Tampa. There's less land there. We've watched that very, very thoughtfully. We have a terrific real estate reporter, Ashley Kreitzer, who's been doing an incredible job covering.
Yeah, when are we going
to
see? When are we going to see some action on the development and everything? Has that all been released yet? Or when we're going to start seeing some? Well,
stuff? I think they've actually. One of the great things about the situation is he's unlike any or most because he doesn't need the financing. Oftentimes, the development cycle is so reliant on banks and financing, and to be true, to actually come to fruition, start moving dirt. Mm-hmm. And I think that they really, by the end of at least this year, I want to start getting things going there. I think that's really important to the project in terms of faith and people seeing things happening. We reported another huge project over at Carillon Park, which is Echelon has been sitting on that land for many, many years, and is also planning, and it was once a potential site for the Rays. So real estate has always been a really important area of focus for us, and continues to be so. Today is Mobilegeddon, if you didn't know what that is. Today is the
Mobilegeddon. No, what is that?
Today's the day that Google changes the algorithm for which it ranks search engines based on whether or not your website is mobile friendly.
Oh, we talked about that yesterday on the show. I wasn't familiar with the name Mobilegeddon,
yes.
But go ahead and elaborate on that. That's definitely something people need to be aware of.
The focus of our cover story this week, last Friday, which was, we took our book of lists, which is something we publish a list, which we've been doing for every week. It's not a paid listing, but it's research that's in the print edition, a huge value add for our subscribers, and it gets aggregated into our book of lists. And we took a lot of those lists, and we sort of checked websites and see who was mobile friendly. Google has a very easy way to see whether or not your site is mobile friendly, and then almost half failed. Mm-hmm. And what we've discovered is not everybody needs to have that mobile friendly site. If you're consumer facing in the tourism or leisure or hospitality, it's likely that you've already made that switch. Banks, real estate firms failed this out and out. So, interesting topic related to whether or not, how important search engine optimization is, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. I had an SEO expert and everything in the studio yesterday. So I actually meant to go check my own site, Tampa Bay Radio. Hopefully it's mobile friendly. I think it is. I pulled it up on my phone, and I consider it mobile friendly. I don't know, but I will use the site there to judge it for me and everything. We got a lot going on with Mayor Buckhorn's second term here, Riverwalk. If y'all have been covering that, there's a lot of excitement around that development.
It's tremendous. I mean, I think Riverwalk we've watched for years, actually, and just the ability for it to be connected, for that piece, to go around Kennedy and to have this sort of contiguous walkway, be a destination for walkers. I mean, if you think back not too long ago, the days for which you went down to Curtis Dixon Park and there was this gloomy art museum. I mean, it had beautiful art inside, but you couldn't see the water. It was not a happy place to be. And then under Pam Iorio, the park got built. If you walk down by that, one of my favorite places in town is when you walk down past the art museum and the minarets are in the background and you have the park and the city, and it's a stunning place. And so now to have that kind of quality of life, to attract more residents, and to begin to bring the sort of the critical mass which attracts businesses and restaurants to downtown Tampa. I live in Eastern Pasco County because when I got here in 2004, that was the best place to find a house for a reasonable amount of money. And get a good deal, and I would love to live down there. It would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, downtown Tampa definitely needs some more excitement and everything. I was in St. Petersburg, downtown St. Petersburg, this past week, and I actually went on the ghost tour. That was I didn't even know we had ghosts in this area and everything. But downtown St. Pete has just a different flair, and Tampa can be so much more. Apparently, Tampa has a ghost tour as well.
I've heard that exactly.
Yeah, interesting thing. The ghost tours. It was more of a history tour, to be honest with you. I mean, we talked about the Vinoy and a few of the different things in downtown St. Petersburg, but something people that can do.
What we're really talking about here is quality of life. I mean, I spent 14 years in Miami before coming here for this job, and it's been fun to watch, not only to grow relationships to me personally, but to watch and talk about life in Tampa Bay. And social media is a big part of that. We've been really focused on Reporter as brand. And so not only are we reporting on different beats, but we're sharing kind of our, what do we do in our lives. So, I think that, you see that in our feeds throughout. It's just sort of a look at sort of what is it about Tampa Bay that makes it such a great place to live.
Yeah, and what's in the news with the Rays and stuff? Are they going to come to Tampa? You think? I see that they the contract is open for negotiations again. I think St. Pete opened up or is allowing them to discuss this now.
Well, that's the big sticking point. I mean, in the grand scheme, it's really, people have a range of different opinions. I mean, even internally in our newsroom, there's a lot of questions about, how much do we really need baseball? I mean, I'm a baseball fan. I grew up watching the Red Sox in Fenway Park. I've certainly become a Rays fan since I've been here. I know the Red Sox are in town, but I'm rooting for the Rays. I mean, my family doesn't like that, but I think that where they go, they really did need a chance to go negotiate, look around. There are a lot of different sites that have been talked about. But, in the grand scheme, this is the brand that people know who don't know Tampa Bay. It's often seen through our sports teams. The Rays have been, make no mistake, they've done a lot in the community. They like to talk about it, but they don't talk about it in a way that is for promotional reasons. If you really look hard at that community aspect, they've done a tremendous amount of work. So losing them, there are a lot of other, in fact, we have some reporting that we're doing that's research that talks about, what other locales could support a team. This one is limited in terms of its ability to support it from a corporate point of view. So you'd hope that that wouldn't happen, but finding them a home that they want to build the next generation of ballparks. They don't want to build the last of the Camden Yards. They want to build something where you could open up the outfield to the public in the off season. They want to be in a place that's sort of more intimate and have different kinds of cooling systems. I think they can do it for less money than people
I was in San Diego last year, Petco Park. They built that stadium in downtown San Diego, and it's just an amazing facility. And sort of like what you're saying, it's an open stadium. You can come in there even during the off season, and there's all kinds of restaurants and bars that are around the stadium. It's actually probably one of my favorite stadiums. I've been to a lot of different baseball stadiums. I've never gotten up to Fenway. Definitely want to check out Fenway, but I've been to Wrigley and a number of other different fields. And Petco Park in San Diego is definitely one to see, and we'd love to see something like that in Tampa with that type of atmosphere.
And they, I talked to some of their executives recently, and was down in Port Charlotte touring, and they're just aching to do it. I mean, they eat and sleep it, think it, and they just really excited to make that happen. The fact is, if they can negotiate and look around, perhaps there's a chance that they could make a deal that would, I mean, public support for ballparks is non-existent. I mean, public does not want to pay for it.
Yeah. So we got about a minute left here. So talk to me about how people in the community can get involved with the Tampa Bay Business Journal. How can they send you news stories? Can they get involved in volunteering? How can people get involved with the News Journal?
Well, it's really vital to our brand and to our existence to have source relationships with people that tell us news that people don't know and would be surprised to hear. That's our definition of news. So I'm very accessible. I mean, I get 800 or 900 emails a day, so managing that's a little challenging.
800 or 900? I get 300. I think I'm going
it's a
crazy.
lot,
Wow.
and that's a product of success. Our Twitter feed is at TBBJ Newsroom, at TBBJ Newsroom. Okay. Mine is at Alexis TBBJ. Those are places for contact. So we're looking for information again that we can talk to sources without and sort of understand how to break that news. We were competitive with the daily newspapers, and we love scooping the competition. I think that's what a vibrant business press should do. So through our email, through our social media channels, we really want people to sign up for morning and afternoon email editions. Those are free. It's not the lean back, value added experience of our print edition. We need those subscribers as well. Very easy to sign up to get a subscription. We love our subscribers. At the very least, sign up for our morning and afternoon email editions.
All right, and I'll get that up on the show recap at TampaBayRadio.com. Ways to connect. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business.
Hi, welcome to Yeager's. We just want to take a minute and show you what we're all about. At Yeager's, our primary business is hardwood flooring, although we are remodelers for kitchen, bath, and general construction. We operate a fleet of shop-at-home vans that have all the flooring-type products, hardwood flooring, laminate flooring, tiles, stone, what have you. So we're able to come out first with products in our vehicles and take a look at the setting, how the colors will work, and then to be able to come up with some options and ideas for you. If that's not good enough, we have a large distribution center that we inventory product and have a nice display area.
AMC will connect you directly to a lender offering no closing cost loans. Let's say you want a refi, but you're underwater on your mortgage. No problem. Call and we'll connect you to a lender who'll do it. Refinance and save money. And saving is sexy. Call 1-800-405-4479. 1-800-405-4479. 1-800-405-4479.
Hey, Bob, how's business? Is the new website helping?
Not good. I can't figure out how to get the website finished. How did you do it?
Easy. I called Web.com. They built my website for free.
Wow, free? Really? Web.com?
Yep, and in just 7 days. Then they promoted it on all the search engines.
Like Google, Yahoo, and Bing?
Exactly. And Web.com has helped grow my business so much, I had to bring on new staff.
Hey, if Web.com did it for you, they're perfect for me.
Web.com can build your website for free in as little as 7 days. If after 30 days you're happy with your new website, we'll continue to provide promotion, hosting, support, and maintenance, all for just one low monthly fee. If not, cancel and pay nothing. Call now, 1-800-533-9960. That's 1-800-533-9960. 1-800-533-9960. Or go to web.com/radio.
There is no upfront charge for building the website, after which the ongoing fee applies. Rights to the website are relinquished upon cancellation unless otherwise purchased.
This report is brought to you by Baymont Inn & Suites. Could your team, group, or club use $10,000? Tell your story now through April 27th by entering the Baymont Inn & Suites Home Team Hospitality Contest. Baymont is also giving away 8 additional cash prizes. Visit BaymontInns.com/Home Team Hospitality for details.
From the Bright House Network's Traffic Center.
Kennedy westbound now slowing down at Willow Avenue for a serious accident blocking the right lane. 2 lanes blocked on 49th Street northbound just south of Ulmerton Road. And you're going to find delays on 275 southbound as you approach Fowler Avenue. We have an accident on the exit ramp. See traffic problems? Call Injury Firm of Abrahamson and Rick Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
Winds, Weather Center forecast. We'll see the high today reach the low 80s. See a similar cloud coverage as yesterday. Rain chance down, though, 30%. Tonight's lows in the upper 60s. Impact Radio 1250 Winds, WHNZ.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni on 1250 Winds WHNZ. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Meloni.
Welcome back, everybody, to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business. Learn more about the show over at TampaBayRadio.com, and be sure to catch the show here weekdays at 8 a.m. on 1250 WHNZ. And this show, again, has a positive message each and every morning about our business owners, entrepreneurs, and people making a difference in and around the Tampa Bay community. Feel free to connect with me on all the different social networking sites. After each show, we post the replays of the shows and information on the guests on all the different social networking sites. Facebook.com/That Business Show. I also have a SoundCloud channel. Just search for Jamie Meloni over there, and all our podcasts are up there. also over on iTunes for the podcast enthusiast. And there's actually a podcast festival coming up this Friday and Saturday over at the Ramada here. So if you want some information on that, I'll be a sponsor over at the Podcast Fest. It'll be the first annual Florida Podcasters Festival. So people that aren't familiar, podcasting is really starting to take off. So there's a lot of different people doing a podcast. I'm a radio show host, but it's also can be turned into a podcast. But a lot of people getting into that space, and for a couple $100, you can go to the store, buy a cheap microphone and a recording device, and put your stuff up on iTunes. Next thing you know, you're a podcaster. So if you're interested in that, again, you can shoot me an email and I'll get you some more information on that. But that's going on Friday and Saturday at the Ramada Hotel, each day 9 to 5. So some good information over there. And again, you can find this podcast over on iTunes under That Business Show. And please connect with me on Twitter as well under the handle Jamie_Meloni. On the first half of the show, we're talking with Alexis Milner, editor of the Tampa Bay Business Journal. And so now on the second half of the show, got another guest in studio with me today, Debbie Lundberg. And as the author of 9 books, Debbie Lundberg is the principal of Presenting Powerfully, where the areas of expertise include inspirational speaking engagements, corporate and team learning events, personality and interest assessments, and one-on-one life, business, and presentation coaching sessions. Debbie, welcome to the show today.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So let's talk a little bit more about what Presenting Powerfully is all about.
Sure. Well, how you present is how you are remembered. So it's important that we think about our communication, our behaviors, and our relationships in terms of effective communication, professional behaviors, and thriving relationships so that people want to be around us. It seems as though people are really drawn to those who can command a conversation or a room, and by presenting sincerely and having that great energy, people want to be around those people. So
you're a speaker as one of the hats that you wear, but do you also counsel and coach people on how to present properly too?
Absolutely, okay. Absolutely, because when people present powerfully and they feel good about themselves, their confidence combines with their expertise and it makes it memorable. When people present and feel as though they have to do that, that doesn't engage the audience. And an audience will only come up to about 80% of your energy. So it's important that a presenter not only wants to do it, but he or she truly is an expert and wants to share that with others.
Okay, so let's get, I want to get some tips here on presenting powerfully then. So let's say I'm coming to you and I've got a presentation this weekend and I'm scared to death. I don't like to talk in front of people. What are some of the early tips that you give to somebody that's not an expert or experienced in the presenting arena?
Sure. Believe it or not, the first thing is get out of your own way, Jamie. Because what happens is we think about ourselves as, oh, I'm nervous, or I don't want to do this, or I don't like the idea. Instead, if we put the audience first, we remove ourselves from it. And once we remove ourselves as the obstacle, then the audience gets the best thing. So if you think about what's the goal you want the audience to get, not what do I want to talk about, but what does the audience deserve to get if they're willing to listen to, say, your podcast, and then think, what do they deserve to have out of this? They'll never get that time back, but what they will have are some either great tips or tools or this memory of, oh no, I lost that time. So the first tip is get ourselves out of our own way by realizing that the audience is most important. Secondly, it's to say, and I know I've already said this, but make sure you really are an expert. Know that there may be people in the audience who are also experts, but know and have the confidence that you are one of them. And I call it moxhumility. Have the moxie to go for it and say, here I am, I have these things to share. And then have the humility to say there's probably still more to learn. And as we learn those things, like I learned from Alexis being on this morning, which was wonderful, hey, I can pick up on that or learn from someone else. That's that humility that has to play into an effective presentation. And then third, be respectful of people's time. Sometimes speakers think, well, I want to talk about this so I can go on and on. But if you have a stop, and let people know that. Respect their time. Give them opportunities to ask questions. And the last thing, have fun. Just enjoy it. Even if it's not great news, you can have that enjoyable experience or let people know that you really are glad to be there.
What are some common mistakes that presenters make over and over again? We talked about tips to prepare here for a presentation, but what are some of the mistakes that you see presenters making? Is it just the way they're presenting themselves, just in their dress or in the energy level that they're dispensing? Talk to me about some of the common mistakes that presenters make.
Absolutely. It's funny when sometimes I'll meet people and I tell them what I do or the name of my business, they often say, I don't usually dress this way. And I'll say, well, what made you come out dressed the way you would normally dress, right? And so you're right. It's be comfortable. You don't want to wear something that somebody said looked great, but you don't feel good in. You want to represent your personality. So sometimes people attempt to look a certain way or do certain things that people tell them that don't fit their personality. That's one mistake. Another is they don't know their material. They say things like, I'm really good winging it.
Right.
Well, guess what? We're not all good winging it,
right.
But we may feel that we're comfortable winging it because we don't know what it feels like when we're prepared. So that's a second mistake, is people not preparing. You suggested we spend some time preparing for the show, and that's certainly respectful of you, your team, and the audience. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing that people do is they talk over people or about things that don't relate to the audience. They also say things like, great question to everyone. Now, let's say that you ask me a question and I say, great question. Mm-hmm. And then Alexis asks me a question, I say, great question. Then you ask me another one and I don't say great question. While I'm answering it, subconsciously you might think, was my question not great?
Right.
And so some of those things that we do, mistakes people use are verbal crutches such as ums and ahs. Believe it or not, the way to overcome that is to simply close our mouths. And people will laugh that they're in a session with me, and they'll say, what do I do about these ums and ahs? And I say, do this. Put your mouth together. Put
right.
your teeth together. And if your mouth is closed, you cannot have utterances that aren't words. And it's also very respectful of timing when you do that. So those are some of the things that people do that are unfortunate, and those of us in the audience might pick up on them or not even realize the reason that we're not enjoying the presentation as much as we could.
Now, tell me about your inspiration and the path to entrepreneurship and how you got into this space. What is your background before this, or have you always been in this space? I see you wrote 9 books. Are they all in this kind of arena, or did you talk about other topics as well? Talk to me about your background and how you got into the presenting powerfully space.
Sure. As a person who grew up in Flint, Michigan, not the etiquette capital of the world, I was in the auto industry, was around my surroundings, and after undergrad at University of Michigan, I was fortunate to work in the auto industry, and naive enough not to really realize that General Motors introducing females into the field to call on dealers was something that was a little bit more of a test than a plan. So I was sent to Southwest Louisiana when I was 23 years old, and I thought it was fabulous. I had a company car, and I thought, wow, this is great. So I was just the 14th person out of 213 in the field who happened to be a female, and loved it, and happened to then get to train Dale Carnegie training adjunctly as well. Through that whole career, I got to progress, had really good mentors, was fortunate to have some dealers take me under their wings and teach me how to do things like change oil in 29 minutes or less, right. Because I perhaps overstepped my boundaries by saying anyone could do it. So I had to learn some of those things, and in doing that, became a regional manager and then headed up legal and product delegation for the U.S., Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands. All that time still coaching and training Dale Carnegie training. And then we realized I was fortunate to meet my husband, who somehow did not want to live in Michigan, believe it or not. And so when we thought about that, that wasn't our plan to live separate. So instead of quitting, I was able to do a retirement, and that was pretty unusual at the time, but by doing that and realizing it up front, it allowed me to seed my business. And then worked for a consulting firm for a year and continued with Dale Carnegie training and became the instructor of the year in the Tampa Bay area in 2005. So now, 10 years later, my business has for a year I was with the consulting firm, and then incorporated a couple years after. So it's almost been 9 years.
No, congratulations on the success. That's a great story, and hopefully an inspiration to some of our listeners out there. I always talk on the show about stepping outside of your comfort zone and taking a chance. I mean, that's how I got to where I did. But stepping out of a safe, comfortable job, and you'd be surprised. How much inaction costs you in the long run. If you just don't do that. Now, when you're presenting, you obviously speak on a number of different topics. What do you like to speak about most? What is your favorite areas for presentations?
You mentioned reversing the slabification of America, and yes, that is the word, slabification. So I trademarked that expression because I believe that Americans are slabified in the way we communicate, behave, and relate to others. We feel as though people have to treat us to a certain level of respect, and yet we can behave however we want, whether it's behind the wheel of our car or tweeting or texting. And it's really unfortunate because I think we've lost some of that respect for each other. The beauty of talking about that is that you can reverse it by simply employing or going back to, some of those things that are courtesies of a thank you and a please and a sincere you're welcome. And the way we shake hands may seem so small, and yet they make a big impact on the way we treat other people, and then as a result, the way we relate. So speaking on that, demystifying time and meeting madness. I will tell you, people love to have meetings, but they're not necessarily well run. And there's a lot of this idea of being busy, and I talk about being productive instead of busy. So those are some of my favorite things to get to speak on, and I've been fortunate that whether they're not nonprofits, or businesses that invite me in to do that, and we have some fun with it too.
Yeah, I'm over at your website, which is debbielundberg.com, and it is a very informative site. A lot of great information here, and I see you got some tips on reversing the Slavification of America. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. You touched on that briefly. I want to get into some of these tips when we come back from the break. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking with Debbie Lundberg of Presenting Powerfully here on That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business.
Are you looking for a local real estate firm that knows the market and has your interests in mind? Then contact Jim McPeak at McPeak Real Estate Firm, a family-owned business whose agents have over 60-plus years of experience in the Tampa Bay market. Many of the agents are military veterans that know the VA process for buying a home and are proud to help our military members in any way they can. From residential to commercial real estate, McPeak Real Estate Firm is here to help. Contact Jim at 813-495-3875 and learn more at McPeakTeam.com.
Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage want you to experience the thrill of one-day underwriting and the comfort in knowing your loans will be clear to close in record time. While the competition looks to a lost closing date, Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage focus on their 12-day clear to close. They do this by utilizing their world-class operations staff to underwrite your loan within 6 hours, process your loan in 12 days, and have your loan closed in time. Underwritten in 6 hours, cleared to close in 12 days. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage.
Hey there, it's Lynn Wise, the founder of Wise Business Advisors and Contractor Business Alliance. I am a certified value builder advisor, and I help business owners build a company that will allow them to have the business that they dreamed of when they started. Why did you go into business for yourself? I'm sure it was not to work 100 hours a week with no work-life balance and no financial freedom. What am I talking about? I'm talking about building a business that provides value to you and your family now and in the future. You can learn about the 8 essential areas of a business that you must build to have a business that can be an asset for your future. Go to wisebusinessadvisors.com and take the Value Builder score. It is free and will deliver your score immediately on how you are doing on building a valuable business for you and your family. Or call me at 772-834-8513 to learn more about the Value Builder system.
In the market for a reverse mortgage? Contact Access Reverse, a local company with personalized service in the Bay Area. Call them at 727-347-0305 or visit accessreverse.com for a no-cost, no-obligation consultation. They'll come to your home and speak with you about the best options for your reverse mortgage. Plus, they offer the lowest closing costs. Don't just get a reverse mortgage. Get the right reverse mortgage with Access Reverse. Visit accessreverse.com. NMLS number 4566. Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
This report is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Advance Auto Parts introduces Speed Perks Rewards Program. Spend $100 and get $20 off your next qualified purchase. No cards, no points, no nonsense. See details online at advanceautoparts.com.
From the Bright House Network's Traffic Center.
Lane blocked on 275 northbound just past Dale Mabry Highway. On the southbound side, the off-ramp to Fowler Avenue has a crash at the beginning of the exit ramp. And then I'm seeing 2 lanes blocked on 49th Street northbound just south of Almerton Road. It's stop and go throughout the area. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson and Utica Hillsborough traffic tip line 866-545-9595.
It will be warm and humid overnight, the low down to 71. On Tuesday, partly cloudy skies, just a 20% chance of showers or storms. Tuesday's high, 86.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Meloni.
Welcome back, everybody, to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business. Learn more about the show over at TampaBayRadio.com and catch the show weekdays here at 8 a.m. on 1250 WHNZ. And currently in studio, talking with Debbie Lundberg of Presenting Powerfully. And on the first part of the segment there, we're talking about some presentation tips and ways to make yourself stand out in your presentation, and some of the mistakes people need to be aware of when they're presenting. And we headed into that the break there with a talk of slobification, and I'm over at your website again, DebbieLundberg.com, and you got a lot of great information over here on this site, and you just got a lot of tips on reversing the slobification of America. You even got a quiz on the site to see how much of a slob you really are. I'm kind of scared to take that, so but you got a lot of stuff here on the site and everything, just some tips for people to reverse the slobification, so to speak. I'm just looking at a few here. Let your voicemail do what it is designed to do. Stop answering your phone with "I'm going to have to call you back." Talk to me about that. That's a good tip, and I'm just trying to find the ones in line with specific business. A lot of people will pick up the phone and say they can't talk right now. That's a great tip. Talk to me about that.
Absolutely. So with all your success in real estate, Jamie, your phone probably rings and rings, and you get emails and things. And so when you have voicemail, which the majority of us do, what is the difference in your letting it go to voicemail, which is telling someone you're doing something else, and then calling them back, then answering it to say, "I'm in a meeting, I'm going to call you back"? Well, the difference is you were not a slob if you let it go to voicemail. You are a slob twice, really, because you answered it, and whomever's in front of you feels as though he or she isn't important, and now whomever's called you feels as though he or she has interrupted you. And it's interesting because I would watch people, and the number of times that someone would say, "Oh, sorry," that they called them and then the person answered and said they were in a meeting. It's comical, really, if you think about that. Your overinflated ego saying, "I'm so important, I've got to tell you I'm in a meeting," as opposed to my trusted voicemail that I know will work.
Yeah, I have a huge pet peeve with voicemail, both leaving voicemail and getting voicemail. I always, in my voicemail says, please email me, please text me, just ways to be more efficient. But I hate leaving voicemail. I am so tired of the 1 minute of instructions that all play back on all our phones now about how to leave a voicemail. I think after 15 years of using cellular devices, everybody knows how to leave a voicemail, but I hang up the phone because I can't stand to listen to the computer voice give me instructions on how to leave a voice message. And so, but I think we're kind of moving beyond that. A lot of people are shying away from voicemail. Another pet peeve I have with voicemail are people that leave the long-winded message, just name, number, and a brief reason for the call. I get real estate agents and buyers that give me their whole life story about why they're calling and stuff. So that's just one of my pet peeves, and it would be on my list if I were writing one of these.
You're on the right path too, and if you are going to leave a voicemail, which I respect you don't love to leave, but for those who are going to, leave your name and your phone number first, then your brief message, then your name and your phone number, because most of us are doing something else, or we cut out in traffic or something happens. So if you leave it at the beginning and the end, the person does not have to listen to your entire message again. So if you do leave a message, leave your phone number twice.
Yeah, and I got a feature on my phone. I'm sure a lot of people do, the voicemail to text app or whatever. Then I like that, and it takes, although it doesn't translate very well, but you kind of get the gist of who it was and everything that called. So people that aren't aware, on your phone somewhere or in an app store, there's an application that'll take your voicemail and turn it into text for you. So I like to use that. I'm looking at another tip here. Resist saying "I don't care" when you really mean whatever you prefer. "I don't care" obviously has a certain tone to it. So yeah, this is a great tip right here.
It does. I have to give my husband credit for that one, because years ago, if I would say, "Oh, do you want to go here or there?" I'd say, "I don't care." And he said, when you say you don't care, it really feels as though you don't care. He said, "What do you really mean?" And I said, "You're right. I really do mean whatever you prefer." Sometimes we really do want the other person to have his or her choice. And it's such a nice way to say it. It's like, whatever you prefer. It's complimentary to them, it's courteous, and it's also saying, "I do care. I just want you to have a choice for a change." Perhaps it is for some of us.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on your website here. We could probably spend 2 hours talking about all these different points, but some great information, some great tips. Learn about this over at DebbieLundberg.com, and this is, again, reversing the slobification of America. That's the stuff we were just talking about right there. And take the quiz and see if you're a slob or not. I'm afraid to take this thing, so I know what I'm going to get. So. My Streamcast, John Gaston in studio, he already took it, and he did not score very well, he said. So some of the other topics that you cover, presenting powerfully, you talk a lot about motivation versus inspiration. Let's talk about this right now.
Sure, sometimes people think that they motivate other people. The reality is we're all motivated. We tend to think of people as lazy. We use that word so quickly with people. But who we deem as lazy are really people who don't do what we want, when we want it, how we want it done. Doesn't mean they're lazy per se. It means they're motivated differently than we are. And I like to encourage the leaders I get to work with by saying, let's be realistic. You're not here to motivate someone because you wouldn't hire people who weren't already motivated. You want to inspire them. You want to learn their motivation. And there are 4 things that motivate most of us: time, money, people, and opportunity. And 2 of those will usually weigh out over the other 2. So let's say if I am a people and opportunity person and you're a time and money person, and you say, Debbie, skip your vacation with your favorite person and I'll pay you some extra money to just work over, and I say no thank you, you suddenly think I'm lazy because I don't have the same motivation you do. Doesn't mean I'm lazy. Doesn't mean really most people I find are not lazy. They're just motivated differently than we are, to a different level. And so you want to surround yourself with those people who have either similar motivations or complementary, and that you relate to their level of motivation. But much like a trainer at the gym, it's funny when we box, and when the boxer says, I've got to motivate you, I say, don't bother. I'm here at 5:30 in the morning. I'm already motivated.
Right.
You can inspire me by giving me something, but you won't motivate me. And we laugh about it because people tend to put that on themselves, that they think they can motivate others, and that's not what we're here for.
And another topic you discuss a lot with your people that in your audience, reason things don't go as planned. What? Talk to me about this right now.
Sure, there are 4 reasons. I talk a lot about 4s. There are 4 reasons things don't happen, and things don't always go as planned, as much as we'd like them to. The reasons are people don't know, they don't know how, they don't have capacity, or they don't want to. And it's important for us as leaders of ourselves and or others, is to say, does the person know? Do they know how? Are they capable? And do they want to do it? And if there's something that's lacking there, the knowledge part requires information. The how-to is coaching. The capacity is that we want to assess people fairly, and then the want to is an attitude check. And most people don't love when I tell them this, but first it's on us. Sometimes our attitude, if I came in and I had a bad attitude today, I could think that you weren't great at what you do, and you are. But because of my bad attitude, I might be able to influence other people. So it's important that not only we look at others for do they know how, are they capable, and do they want to, but before we answer a phone, send an email, make a presentation, ask ourselves, do I know how, do I have the capacity, and do I want to? And then we have a less slobified world.
That's always good. Now, you were mentioning the term leader a lot, and you also speak about the differences between leadership and management.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us about the importance of, how to know the difference between those 2 things, leadership and management.
Sure. Well, I think we have so many titles that are a manager title or a director title that we think we understand that, but we lead ourselves each day in every way we think, speak, and treat other people. So leaders don't have to have followers. Leaders are people who lead by their example, and managers often are looking at process and how they keep things in order. And there's not to say leaders are better than managers, it's to say they're different. And a leader isn't necessarily a great manager, and a manager is not necessarily a great leader. But if you look at managing process and leading people, how do you bring those things together? And then those people you have on your team, how do you separate those opportunities so that people really can strive and look as though they've gotten the opportunity that they deserve?
Yeah, and that leads me to one of my favorite sayings. We're talking about leader, but you also don't want to underestimate the importance of learning to follow, because to be a great leader, you got to learn how to follow first. So it's always something that I say a lot and stuff, but there's some great tips there on the differences between leadership and management.
Thank you.
As well as some great information on how not to be a slob, in our society. So I got to wrap it up, but Debbie Lundberg, thank you very much for being in studio today. Some great information for us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And get more information about her over at DebbieLundberg.com. Again, some great information, some great tips on how not to be a slob as well. Take that quiz and see if you pass. Again, DebbieLundberg.com. Also want to thank Alexis Milner with the Tampa Bay Business Journal in studio today on the first part of the show. Alexis, thank you very much for being in studio today.
It's really a pleasure, Jamie. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Absolutely. And learn more about them over at TampaBayBusinessJournal.com. Hope everybody has a great day. Catch me back in here tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. on That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business.